Former Governor of Rivers State, Dr. Peter Odili, has publicly defended the incumbent governor, Siminalayi Fubara, in his face-off with the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. Odili says Fubara's offense was to have stopped the quest by one man to capture the state as a private estate. Although the former Rivers State governor mentioned no name, the media have been awash with stories on the phone conflict between Fubara and Wike in the last 1 year. Odili spoke at a Christmas ballad which he hosted at his Port Harcourt residence on Friday night in honor of the governor. Fubara himself said at the event that his victory in the political crisis was assured. According to Dr. Odili, it is now over 12 months since the 25th of October 2023 when a fierce existential fight, though unnecessary, was waged against Governor Fubara over the soul of Rivers State. He said that with assuring fortitude, Governor Fubara confronted the challenge, prevented the quest by one man to capture the state as a private estate, emancipated Rivers people and steadied governance, and made civil servants and Rivers people happier as it used to be until he, Odili, left office in 2007. Meanwhile, in her speech, Justice Mary Odili, who presented gifts to Fubara, his wife, Lady Valerie, and the children, said God knew how long the need for an emancipator and gave Fubara to Rivers State. She explained that he had played the role satisfactorily and pledged the continuous support of her family to the success of his administration. Amy, what do you make of this story? What do you make of these developments?
You see, this is democracy. Democracy guarantees every citizen right to speak. Hold your opinion, air it in the manner you feel that it is right to you. But in airing that your opinion, there are other Nigerians who will try to extray that your opinion and make certain positions from it. And in every given society, what is actually the quarrel of men? The quarrel of men lies with one, quest for power, quest for property, quest for fame. And people also tend to take position sides along these interests, most especially in the political terrain. So I think Odili was a former governor of Rivers State. I think he's the pioneer since 1999. So we look at the foundation of this current democratic dispensation where Odili is one of them, right? He was the first governor since 1999. And that is where we returned to democracy, and we expected that an administration that was supposed to be governed by rules, check and balances. But Odili, being a senior citizen, we shall accord him all the respect. But I think if we must assuage this crisis or self-inflicted disagreement between certain groups in the state to an extent that we say that I'm really not okay with the position of sad Dr. Peter Odili. I think it seems to be fueler of crisis.
Why do you say that?
The position has to, yes. I will say so because people say when children are quarreling, it is the elders that will come and resolve the quarrel. But we elders have begun to take sides. Then it is expected that the crisis will continue to receive more ignitions. The crisis will escalate to the extent that it might even consume the elders unconsciously. And that is why I say Odili appears to be one of the fueler of the crisis based on this position. He was supposed to stay aloof, stay kind of, stay neutral. Yeah, the neutral is the best word, stay neutral and see how you can call both parties. Because at the time, Odili was singing the praises of Chief Nyesom Wike, telling you that Chief Nyesom Wike is the best thing that happened to Rivers State. Chief Nyesom Wike, Rivers State is actually lucky to have him as a governor. Every Rivers but queue behind him. He meant well for Rivers people, and is the one to take Rivers State to the Eldorado. I suddenly surprised you. The same man you promoted, the same man you advertised, the same man you have praised his policies, his programs and all that, most especially with his affiliation and friendship with PAMO, universities, with all he was dishing out, scholarships and so many things, programs he was supporting, and even including the Odili families that he was actually supporting, they were dancing around, and to the point that even where Rivers people were crying. Were crying in the sense that governance was not actually taken to the people. Governance was actually privatized based on the foundation that Sir Peter Odili led. So if today is coming out to say that the quest of one man, I think I will need to correct this. Politics involve so many things. Interest, people will always say. But this idea of emotional blackmail, that people think that one person is fighting for every Rivers while the other person is one man. Well, it's actually, I don't see any one man here. If there is one man, then the one man cut across. The camp of Governor Fubara is one man because Fubara is fighting for his own interest at the detriment of the interest of Rivers people, right? Nyesom Wike, if he says one man, he's fighting for his own interest. So these people are just pursuing their political and economic interests. So who is actually the one man here? So that emotional blackmail that people, one man, I see it as an immature way of politicking. Then coming back to the matter I was actually discussing, you see, Sir Peter Odili laid the foundation in Rivers State where people can come and actually privatize governance, own the government, and run it as a private estate.
How do you mean when you say
the foundation he laid it in 2007, around March. He
left office in 2007.
In 2007, around March.
All right, go
by
ahead.
what he went to court to seek, which Justice Buba granted him.
The perpetual
That he said,
injunction
yes, he said
yes,
he said the inquiry into the financial appropriation that whatever of Rivers State, according to him, that it was prejudicial against smooth running of governance. And that made the judge to give what they call perpetual court injunction that bars Rivers people from actually knowing how their resources are expended, how their resources are generated, and what their resources are used for. So if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So the man Odili actually set up this foundation that empowers everybody or any person who becomes governor of Rivers State today to mismanage Rivers funds, chop them the way he likes, use them the way he likes, donate them the way he likes. So I think if you have an intention to privatize the estates, because Rivers State is not an estate according to his word. So what is actually your intention? Your intention is to ensure that nobody asks you how much is coming to the states. The Nigeria state should not ask how much is allocated to Rivers State, how it's suspended, how much is the IGRA. You don't want anybody to ask. It means the foundation you are laying is to privatize governance, privatize Rivers State resources for the benefit of the few as against the general good. Whereby if all you did, you left. As at the time you obtain this court injunction that says it's a prejudicial to smooth running of government, the same agency that was set up by law was actually also investigating Plateau Governor Joshua Darie, was actually investigating Rashid, Alo Akala, and so many, Ozu Jokalu. All these were governors at the same time of states like you. But you came with your own that your own is prejudicial. It's against smooth running of government. Therefore, they should not ask you how you use state resources, how you manage or mismanage them, what you are investing them on. You say they should not ask you. So you have the will to dole out Rivers State resources and dash to anything, anybody you like. Use it for your personal political interest. So nobody should ask. You lay this foundation where honey is said to have probably put in the mouth of somebody. You tasted the honey. Everybody will want to continue to, to eat from that honey. So you lay the foundation. So if today, if you are not accusing Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike that he will be trying to privatize Rivers State resources and all that, it's actually building on what you laid. It's actually building on what you have bequeathed Rivers State. And I don't think if Governor Fubara is not the Messiah, I don't see Governor Fubara as a Messiah. As long as it's actually associated with you, the foundation layer. And today you are praising him the way you praise the Wike who is gone today. He has now become the enemy who is trying to privatize. You are now praising Dr. Siminalayi Fubara. I think you are also driving the same trajectory. It's the same thing you are doing. By the time he leaves tomorrow, he will now become the one man. Right? When the benefit will no longer be coming, it will become the one man. But today it's not the one man. The one who was doing it for you the other time has become one man until this, because this one now is here. However, in all of this, if you think that Governor Fubara has become the Moses, the Messiah, that you are now saying he has come to liberate Rivers people, the liberation lies with the evacuation of that injustice meted against Rivers people by Sir Dr. Peter Odili, that perpetual court injunction. if you think that Governor Fubara meant well for Rivers State, then you should have advised him to go and do what? Vacate that injustice. Vacate that enemy called perpetual court injunction. Vacate that thing that actually will enable people to privatize the resources of Rivers people. If you talk about good governance, there are factors, there are indices you look. You talk about transparency, you talk about accountability, and you talk about citizens' participation. The absence of this make governance a bad government, because you are there to work for the people. The people are the employers. You are an employee, so you ought to be accountable to the people at all times. How much is coming to the state? To what are you expending this money? Why is it being expended in that manner? You must constantly explain to the people, and the books must be open. But if there is a barrier that you have laid, that the barrier should limit the state and limit Rivers people from knowing how their resources will be expended, you have actually privatized these resources, and you are actually empowering Fubara to continue that trajectory. So the Moses is actually a Moses. This is a wolf in sheep clothing. That is what I'm sorry to use this word. Because if it's a Moses, Moses came, the biblical Moses, came to liberate the people of Israel from the form of bondage that they have found themselves in the land of Egypt at a time where suffering was actually the order of the day. But today, if you come to Rivers State, the misery index is high. It therefore means Rivers people are suffering. What is driving the economy of Rivers State today? It is federal allocation and royalty and other taxes from multinationals and other. Double taxation is killing businesses in Rivers State. There is no one agricultural investment we are seeing from this administration. So everything is boiled down to you, to that foundation you laid. And the foundation is what Governor Fubara is actually building on today, and still living on, and making one person to donate billions and millions of naira to a private organization that Rivers people doesn't approve.
All right, very well. You made some statements, and the way you described the actions and statements of Dr. Peter Odili, you appear to paint a picture of Dr. Peter Odili as a merchant crisis. Merchant crisis, that's the word. Someone who benefits from, in the case of Rivers State, political crisis. Now, when you were speaking, you made a comment that I found very interesting, and I want you to, further explain your statement when you spoke about PAMU University and then PAMU Clinic, and you talked about the scholarships that the ex-governor, the current FCT minister, doled out when he was the governor of Rivers State, and how much the ex-governor Peter Odili benefited from the government, from Rivers State government under the administration of Nyesom Wike then. Can you please explain that better? Now, are you also saying by that statement that perhaps Wike is no longer, holding the reins of Rivers State government, and now Peter Odili is now facing the incumbents? Is that what you're saying?
Actually, I'm not here to allege anything, but I'm just trying to say what the people have been reporting and what we have seen. I think Rivers State has its own tertiary institutions. Like the Rivers State University, we have Joe Ajuru College of Education, now University as well.
Ignatius
Ajuru University Education, right? Currently, we also have several polytechnics that are owned by the Rivers State government. I think where government is actually trying to drive a policy, it drives the policies through its own institutions. But we saw in Rivers State at a time that where government was to give scholarship in the name of Rivers people and all that, it was given through a privately owned institution,
which is PAMU University,
owned by Dr. Peter Odili. So most of the investments then were given to this private institution in the name of Rivers people, right? Okay. While we have Rivers State University, and you have students who were actually dropping out of school because they have no money to meet up their institutional obligations. People were living in poverty, trying to see their children through schools, and some people were even self-sponsors. They were in public schools, Rivers State University and Ignatius Ajiri University and other polytechnics. But the governor then decided to work with Pamo University, a privately owned institution by the former governor of Rivers State. So I think that actually called for some kind of questions. Rivers people will want to know, why Pamo University? Why not Rivers State University? Most of the constructions, most of the benevolence that were done on behalf of Rivers people, why always Pamo? What about other Rivers people investment? Why were we not investing in other Rivers Sons investment to drive certain government policy? It was always more of a Pamo. So today, if you know that such action was a kind of a part of privatization of Rivers State, you were supposed to have rejected of some of these things and say, no, my son, my boy, my friend, we have the state institution. You were supposed to be driving the scholarship programs through the state institutions and not my own institution. But you accommodated this one. You celebrated it. The governor had your high five. It was the best at that point. But today, he's not the man trying to privatize the River State resources. I think some of us will always want to question
now, when you talk about privatizing River State resources, like he has alleged, you know, and the actions of, like you said, the benevolence of the FCT minister when he was the governor of River State, it means that from what you have said, it means that Dr. Peter Odili in this instance was one of the highest beneficiaries of privatizing state resources.
I won't say that directly, but I will say that people will always say, use your tongue to count your teeth.
So is this a function of, you know, pointing at somebody with one finger and the rest of the four is pointing back at you?
Fela say you said it. That was all he said. So for me, and even Jesus said, you said so. So what I'm trying to say here is that an elder should be an elder. And I think Governor Nyesom Fubara should not fall for some of these praises. Because the same people who said that yesterday, there is this particular guy in this state. That at the time Governor Nyesom Wike was a governor, he will always come on radio at any given platform. He will always say the golden governor, God-given governor, the Mr. Project, God has sent him. He is the man. But today, the same man will always tell you Governor Nyesom Wike is former Governor Nyesom Wike is an enemy. The FCT minister should remain in Abuja. He's an enemy of Rivers people. He's this, and he's now praising Governor Nyesom Fubara as the golden governor. The man. So these are the kind of character I'm seeing here with the position of Sir Dr. Peter Odili, with all due respect to him.
Could it be part of the reason why it appears that Rivers State crisis appears to be unending and more complicated as the day goes by? Probably because this is an ex-governor. And we cannot take away the influence, you know, as governors have in the states. They influence the world. And so far in River State crisis, the ex-governors in River State, to a large extent, have remained silent. One cannot point out clearly to say this is the action of the River State ex-governors to make sure they contain this crisis, or at least breach the gap or arbitrate between these warring factions. Would you say to a large extent? Because, I mean, Dr. Peter Odili, while the statement may not come as a surprise to many Rivers people, because, I mean, if you are in Rivers State, you understand where he stands, even though he has not been quite vocal about it. But now coming out to be vocal about it, probably in coming days, one would expect that other state ex-governors will also, you know, toe that path and become vocal on, you know, the side they belong. But seeing this taking sides in this crisis by the ex-governors in Rivers State, do you think to a large extent could it be part of the reason why this crisis appears to be unending?
You see, where there is crisis, there are people who usually benefit from the crisis. And those set of people will see that as their business, their private business, that must continue to run.
So the crisis, they don't want the crisis to end.
They will continue to fuel the crisis for their selfish benefits. They don't care if the state is retarding. They don't care if development is being hindered. All they are saying is that there are private benefits from the situation. And the rivers crisis, what are we even talking about here? We should, some people should be ashamed, honestly. Today, if you check among the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, the FCT, make it 37 states in my own words now, you will not see where we have what they call perpetual court injunction, restraining institution of government from investigating public resources in a particular state. You can't find it. And that is the biggest bondage River State is currently. Today, you will not hear in any state of the Federal Republic where a 3-man or 4-man is said to have passed an appropriation bill. These are negative reports that is actually, an investor will be so afraid that under a personal democracy.
Nigerian Bureau of Statistics have said that there was no FDI in River State in the past 1 year.
There can be FDI. How can you come and invest in a state that respects no law? You see, an investor wants to see that thing that will guarantee him or her the security of his investment.
Now,
but if you have people taking actions against the law of the land, and we are calling that a victory.
Now speaking about the law and you know, some persons calling that a victory, and also you know, applauding the governor in this instance, because I mean, clearly there have been court judgments, even appeal courts in this instance, particularly with reference to the 2024 budget, telling the governor to present it to the Martins Amehule-led River State House of Assembly. However, talking about the law and breaking of laws, let's periscope the stand of Justice Odili, Mary Odili, the wife of Sir Dr. Peter Odili. You know, in this this particular ballad that Dr. Peter Odili, you know, hosted in honor of the governor, Mary Odili also spoke, and she applauded the governor and assured the governor that victory will be his at last, and you know, told him, he spoke glowingly of the governor. Now, Mary Odili is a justice of the Supreme Court. Am I correct?
Former justice.
Former justice. And now one would expect that, okay, she is well versed with the law and how the law runs. And one would expect that, okay, she can play an advisory role, particularly in the legal angle of this crisis and the implications of even running a state without a budget. But now coming out to take this stance, because yeah, you're talking about breaking of law, not having respect to law, and persons backing and celebrating lawlessness in this instance. What do you have to say about the position of Justice Mary Odili in this entire crisis?
While growing up, if we saw a gray hair, what we were meant to understand that is a sign of wisdom. So when we saw people with gray hair, then we always said, this man or this woman must be full of wisdom. So we fear them not because they have bigger arms. So we fear them not because of their height. We fear them not because of their color. We fear them because we believe that gray hair has a lot of wisdom in the head. So whatever we want to do with them, we're so very cautious and very careful. But these days, the gray hair, to an extent, it has become even a thing of shame in certain quarters. What do I mean by this position? People who at a time have become custodian of the law ought to have guided with the children, with the young ones, on how to respect and follow the path of law. Because as it stands today, there have been 1 or 2 court judgments, court of first instance and an appeal court, saying the same thing. 2
appeal court judgments.
Saying the same thing. That this thing, ABCD, was wrong. That the law is like this and like that. And if you go by the provision of our constitution, it is clear there. Very clear. Right? And if we now saw or we are seeing actions that contradict the conscience of the law and the conscience of the court, the life and spirit of the law as given by the court, and we call such actions as victory, then there is danger. There is serious danger. That state is actually, entry into deeper form of bondage that will become a situation where Thomas Hobbes assert to be a kind of lawless state, where life will be short, brutish, and nasty, because the absence of law is the presence of anarchy. A situation where the strong rule by their might. And that is the situation we are applauding right now. We don't know the danger we are creating for the state. That for the sake of personal benefits, or for the sake of political hatred, for one person or the other, then we turn blind eye to what is said to be right by the conscience of the state, which is the law. Then we are sowing seeds of discord, we are sowing danger, and we are opening an ocean that can swallow everybody in the state. And I think this is not the right path for Rivers people. And that is why I have been so pained by the remarks, some of the remarks that Sir Dr. Peter Odili made, including of his wife, Justice, with all due respect. We shouldn't encourage people to break laws. We shouldn't encourage people to disobey what actually made them. Because if every man decides to walk according to their conscience and according to their belief and will, then there will be crisis, because there will be conflict of interest. And once there is conflict of interest and there is no regulatory means, it's crisis-prone situation. So I think Sir Dr. Peter Odili should have a rethink and try to actually clear the air and make everything more understandable. Those things he called victory, let us understand them. Is it that the position of the law was undermined by some persons or by the governor, and he said that is victory? Or is actually trying to say that if court of first instance said you should do this and present the budget to the legitimate assembly of Rivers State, then the appeal court now said the same thing, confirming the decision of the lower court that you should do this, and the governor is disdainfully disregarding and disrespecting the law. Is it what Sir Dr. Peter Odili is calling victory? We need to understand. Personally, I want to understand what is the victory that Sir Dr. Why am I always using Sir for Siminalayi Fubara, governor, our amiable governor? So maybe he will soon become a doctor, maybe. So Sir Siminalayi Fubara actions need to be evaluated, analyzed properly in the context of the law, and proper definition should be given to them for us to know what actually is the victory and what is not victory, and the seed we are sowing in Rivers State. Because as it stands, if you go out there, the news and they talk about Rivers State, some of them are really not good to the ears. I am not a native of Rivers, but by residence, I am a Rivers man. I live here, I pray for the good of Rivers every day, I work for the good of Rivers every day, I contribute for the good of Rivers every day to ensure that it is well with Rivers State. But sometimes if we go out there, people do mock us because they will call me a Rivers man, and I usually accept, yes, I'm a Rivers man. That this your state, why are you people not respecting law? This your state, why is it like this, why is it like that? Your form of politics is different from normal politics. So sometimes we feel ashamed. We just try to make mouth and trying to find a way to cover some of these things, but they are out there. So what actually are we celebrating as victory? If yesterday Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike was the Moses, the blessed child of Rivers State, and today, by the same tongue, Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike has become one man who wants to privatize Rivers State as personal estate, and praises an ashari being showered on another person, who later, if he leaves, he will become one man as well. So sometimes let us see how we appraise these things for us to have a sustainable developed state, and a state where we can all be proud of. Because currently as it stands, if you check the indices, the economic indices, I tell you the misery index in Rivers State is high. Because if we talk about unemployment in Rivers State, it is the collection or the summation of all the unemployment from each of the local government, each of the states that are somewhat together to become the Nigeria unemployment rate. So there are some states that have the least. Today we are talking about food insufficiency that is actually leading to inflation. What is Rivers State bringing to the table in terms of production? Nothing. Apart from the oil 30% derivation and other allocations that are coming in, and multiple taxation and other taxation that we are collecting as IGR, what actually are we producing today? The other day I heard about Ogoja goats that will be sold in Rivers market, and it has certain price tag. I also heard about Hausa goat that will be sold Rivers market, has certain price tag. I was looking for Rivers goat. I didn't see anyone. I was looking for Rivers this. I didn't see anyone. I was looking for Rivers rice. I didn't see anyone. It therefore means that we are mounting pressure on the produce from other states and actually leading to more demands that is surpassing supply to the market, and creating inflation and making people to suffer. So if we don't look at these things that are very key to the development of Rivers State, then we are talking about disobedience to law and court judgment as victory. It means we don't mean well for Rivers State.
All right.